uh, hello and welcome to another episode of Lids Off. I am your host, Bo Snow. I'm very, very excited today as I have got someone very, very dear to me who I have mentioned in all of the episodes so far. I am joined with the one, the only Sarah. Sarah, would you love to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I am Sarah Ul-Haqq. It's lovely to be here. I am 34 years old. You asked me to list off other things. I play for the Manchester Titans as quarterback. I'm sorry. I play for the Manchester Titans as their quarterback, and my NFL team, I didn't have one for a while. I like players, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. Never really liked Tom Brady. Watched the Tom Brady thing, the Netflix thing, and I just thought it's like, I'm proud of you, and also you're kind of a dick. So I'm just
Right?
yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But then I watched quarterback and I was like, oh man, I really like, what's his name? See, I can't remember that. Kirk Cousins. I was like, oh, he's like a lovely person. I'm just like, oh, I want to be you. And then I think he's no longer playing. I don't know. But yeah, so, and then for a while, I just wanted to be Aaron Rodgers. The man has pocket movement like I have never seen before. I aspire to be that relaxed in the pocket. Um, but yeah, so no, not the Packers anymore. But recently I discovered a team that I genuinely didn't know existed. They're the Houston Texans, right? And literally the only reason I like them is because they have this really young quarterback and he just looks scared all the time. And I really empathize with him and he does such a good job, and I was watching him, I was like, man, yeah, okay, let's go Texans. We'll do it. So yeah, my NFL team is accidentally the Houston Texans.
Can you see why I was so excited for everyone to meet you? Because you are phenomenal. The love and adoration I have for this woman is just unmatched. And you're all going to get like a snippet of how incredible you are. So, would you like to start with how football found you?
Ooh, many eons ago. No,
Start the Star Wars screen of tags.
no, I am. Hey, look, I'm actually wearing my Canada. This was not product placement. This was just a really comfortable shirt, and it's a hot ass day. So, sorry, am I allowed to swear on the?
Yeah, of course you am. Go for it.
Cool. So maybe a lot of people don't know this about me. This is if you ever wanted to do like BAFA QB trivia. I was born in Saudi Arabia and I moved to Canada when I was 10. And I played basketball for a few years, and then in in the schools over there we do like competitive sports, and so you have like a bunch of sports that you can like join the team. So I was playing basketball, and then in grade 7, which is when I was 12, and I don't know what the equivalent is. Year 7, is it the same? Are you 12 when you're in year 7?
Like 7, year 8, kind of, yeah.
Okay. I'm a September baby, so I was always on that weird cusp where everybody was either, way older than me or anyway. So in grade 7, touch football was introduced to the school district. So the district, the school board would have all these bunch of sports, and you get to play all the other kind of schools within your region. So I played basketball. And I was playing volleyball as well, and touch football was introduced. So I was just like, what the hell? It's a new sport. Let's try it. And I'd always kind of been like that. Like I just like playing sport more than I like doing anything else. And yeah, that's how it kind of started for me. And touch football is a different format. It's 7 versus 7, and it's played on like the equivalent of like a high school soccer pitch field. What soccer field, soccer pitch, pitch? Is it a pitch? I don't.
Yeah, pitch. Yeah, but
Soccer field. So yeah, so it's like it's quite spread out, and oftentimes it's just one hand touch. Sounds easy, but it's really not, because if you have someone like real fast, they'll just blow past you. So I was 12. I tried out for the team, and I ended up playing defense. I was playing safety. So it's the same kind of thing, like where you have one blitz, and then you have one blitz and then 6 defenders. So I would play safety on the left. And yeah, so I played that for a couple of years. And then in high school, I gave up basketball. And I'm really embarrassed to admit the reason, but I'm going to do it. Because the practice was at 7 in the morning and I was a teenager and I said, I don't want to go to school at 7 in the morning. Like, let's just leave it. It's okay. And it was a varsity team as well. So I was like, the chances of me getting on the varsity squad and I have to wake up at 7 in the morning, hard pass. So yeah, I gave up basketball after 5 years of playing. So I didn't play the sport. So school year started in September. And then in like October, November, I ended up joining the rugby team. And we trained indoors at Bell High School. Shout out to Bell High School in Ottawa. We were training all throughout the winter because obviously Canadian winters, you can't do anything outside. Oh, that would be awful. But yeah, so I was just training with them, and then the kind of season was rolling around March. And keep in mind, I had trained with them for months at this point. And then my dad actually was the one who said, he's like, oh, it's a pretty dangerous sport. Like, I don't want you to get hurt. So, maybe try something else or maybe try another year or something. And I was devastated because I was doing really well. And even my coach, who was this like 6 foot something man, and he taught us how to tackle. And I was able to take him down with like zero effort, what it felt like. And he's like, oh, your technique is really good. I'm like, yes, thank you. But yeah, then I had to give up rugby. And then one day, this would have been like April 2004 or 5, 4 or 5, 2000. Yeah, 2005, April 2005, because I was 14 then. No, that's wrong math. 2003. Whatever. One of the days, one of the years, I was outside throwing football with my friends, and I walked into my science class, and my science teacher kind of like, I walked into class and he's like, Sarah, have you thought about joining the football team? And I said, actually, yeah, because I wanted to play rugby, but I can't do that anymore. So I just need to talk to the coach. And he was just like, oh, the coach is just like right next door. So why don't we go and talk to him? And I was like, all right. So we went over, and my science teacher was like, hey, this is Rodney Moores. He's the physics teacher, and he's also the football coach. So I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And he looks over to Mr. Moores and he goes, you need to try her out. Quarterback, she's got a cannon. And he was just like, well, first training is next week at 7 in the morning.
Oh no, it came to get you.
Oh, God, it bit me in the ass, and it was so much colder. September 7 a.m. is not like, March 7 a.m. So I fucked up, son. It's a bad decision. And so I go out there at 7 in the morning. Ground is hard as shit because it's so hot, like it's so cold that the ground like literally freezes.
Ooh.
We go outside, and I started throwing a football, and the rest is history. That's how kind of American football found me when I was 12, and then being a quarterback found me when I was 14. And for those 4 years in high school, I trained with Rodney Moores. Again, huge shout out to this man. I don't know if he's still teaching at Bell High School, but he literally taught me everything I know. He is the reason why I'm the quarterback that I am. And he, for his team within the Ottawa Nepean Touch Football League, he was like the 5-time like best quarterback in the league. And he's a physics teacher, so he literally taught me all the physics on how to throw a football from my toes to my head to my fingertips. It was so detailed. We used to do one-on-one sessions, and I remember at Bell High School in the basement, the ceiling couldn't have been more than like, I want to say like 9 feet high, maybe nine and a half. I had the kinds of drills that I would do with Mr. Moores. I still can't call him Rodney. I'm a grown-ass woman, and I still can't call him Rodney. I will always call him Mr. Moores. He used to have me throw the ball in a perfect arc, with it grazing the top of grazing the ceiling and still keeping its arc and still keeping its spiral. The amount of control that he taught me to put on a football all happened in that basement. I used to throw footballs and try and get them into basketball nets. I used to do like just so many different drills, and it's just been, years and years of that kind of training. So I worked with him for 4 years, and in our high school, like we ended up winning a couple of tournaments. We never won the whatever, the district school board championship. Honestly, it's so long ago now. Literally 20 years ago now that I started playing quarterback. But we used to do well in tournaments, and I had a real problem with choking. As soon as I would drive the field down. I would drive downfield, no problem. Threw those bombs down the sidelines, up the middle, all of that. Had amazing teammates who could just do things that I couldn't even imagine. And yeah, but I used to choke whenever we did goal line. Couldn't get it through. Couldn't figure it out. It was my biggest weakness as a quarterback. And I couldn't even tell you what it was about. Like, I couldn't tell you if it was the pressure. I couldn't tell you if it was because I was more comfortable throwing a long bomb than I was like a short, even though I could do it. I just always felt more comfortable with something sailing up in the air and my receiver being able to easily catch it. Because again, I'm not proud to admit that I have broken exactly 4 fingers in of my receivers by throwing the ball too hard, and jammed however many others, and that I would just choke when we got to the goal line. But it's okay. I had a good season in high school. Then after high school, there's no like BAFA. There was the ONTFL, which is the Ottawa Nepean Touch Football League, and I played as part of. We were still called, for some strange reason, we were called the Bell Warriors for the longest time. And we were actually in royal blue as well. So I feel like I didn't lose my colors when I joined Manchester. But we were different things. We were like, there was one year where we were like a purple, but that didn't make sense. And then I think the last jersey that I have from my time playing with the ONTFL was the blue jerseys. And I played with them every year, every summer. I would have, some of the girls that I played with in high school, we continued to play together for that time. So I did that until 2016. So for 9 years I played in the the local league. And then in 2016 I moved to Manchester to do my master's degree. And how I found the Titans is another just really bizarre, funny kind of story. I'm moving halfway across the planet. I'm 27. Then I turned 27 the day that I found the Titans, actually. I remember this so vividly because I moved to Manchester on Sunday, the 12th of, no, that would have been, hold on. I can't math. I moved there on a Sunday, and on the Tuesday, so I'm 2 days in to being in this country, I was sitting on the floor of my apartment in Fallowfield, and I just thought, I was like, what the hell? I'll just Google it. Let's just see if there's any American football in Manchester. So I Google Manchester American football. I found the Titans, Manchester Titans American Football Club. I saw that the women's session, I had missed one that day because they used to train on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So I messaged the page and I was like, oh man, like what are the odds? And so I messaged and I was like, oh, I'm here from Ottawa. I've been playing, football for, I don't know, what was it at that time? Would have been, I don't know how many years, 12 years, 14 years, whatever. I'd been playing football for 14 years and I play quarterback, but I'm happy to come and join and do whatever. Then Jonathan Homer messaged me back and was just like, oh, we have a training session on Saturday. Why don't you come out then, 10 a.m.? I was like, okay, cool. Looked it up, looked at where it was. It was literally a bus ride down from where I was living at that time. So I was like, this has to be like some sort of fate, situation. So I walked over and I met the team. And at that time, the quarterback of the team was Sean Perry, and she didn't want to play quarterback anymore. So it was just really lucky that I joined the team and I was able to retain my spot. And, that year it was phenomenal. Like, it was the first time I ever played flag football, which is like learning a whole new sport. And then everybody was able to convince me to join the contact team because I was like, I was worried because I'm just like, oh, I've never played a contact sport before. I'm 27. I don't know the rules, and also I'm only here for a year, so if I get injured, I'm fucked. So decided to just still go for it because I just love playing with the team so much. He has so much talent, and just at the time, just it was just a hell of a lot of fun. Lots of lovely people. We used to go do socials. There was one of our teammates. She had a birthday in December, and we ended up going in fancy dress, but we were all different animals. And I obviously chose a chicken because they're my favorite animal. Contrary to popular belief, I think everybody thinks my favorite animal is a cow, but I will officially, on the record, say it's a chicken. So I dressed up as a chicken and we went out, and it was just lovely. So that's how I found the Titans. I was there for a year. I went back to Canada for a year, and then I moved back here in November 2018 and rejoined the Titans. And that is a really long history. I've just given you everything. Sorry.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Yeah.
So, what is it about the position of the quarterback that really speaks to you?
To be honest, I can genuinely say I fell into it. I didn't watch American football. I didn't think to myself, "Oh, I want to be a quarterback." I never. Like, it was just one of those things. I was a strong kid. I'd always been kind of bigger for my age, and it was chance that my science teacher saw me throwing a ball. What speaks to me, I guess, now is again, like, I'm not a I know, you know me, we've played together. Like, I'm not a glory person. Like, it's not something that I know I'm decent. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. There's nothing about, like, it's not like, oh yeah, I love leading the offense. I love, being part of the solution, whatever. I think what speaks to me is that it's a game, right? It's a game. And you have to, the way that I see it and the way that I process it is that it's just things falling into place when they need to. It speaks to my desire for things working out. If that makes sense, because if a play is executed well, and if all your receivers are where they need to be, and if they've exploited the gaps in the defense, and if the ball gets to where it needs to be, and then a touchdown is scored, things worked out, you know? So for me, it really is about it's how it comes together. It's how it plays out. It's going to sound really weird to say, but how a play plays out and how nice that feels, you know?
No, that makes sense.
It's never been about, like, oh, wanting the glory or wanting to score a bunch of I mean, who doesn't love scoring touchdowns, right? But I'm not the one scoring the touchdowns, though. That's the thing. This is the thing. Okay, I'm just going to come out again and say it. With quarterbacks, you don't do anything except throw the ball. I mean, do you know what I mean? What is a quarterback without a receiver? What is a quarterback without line people? What is a quarterback without the rest of the team? It doesn't have any meaning. So for me to be able to throw the ball, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I throw the ball. It doesn't matter how good I am, how far. If a receiver doesn't catch it at the end of the day, or if I don't make that happen for them, for example, by throwing it in the right spot, knowing their speed, knowing their ability, then what am I doing? I've just never seen it. Like, everybody thinks about, again, and that quarterback series on Netflix as well. It's, oh, quarterbacks, this and that. And I'm just like, but, like, you're nothing without your team, though. So why all the glory? Why all the money? Like, I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand it.
You are. I think you're incredible. Genuinely, I just love
That's
hearing
really
you
nice.
talk about how passionate you are about it. And I think from the QBs that I've come into contact with, I love your approach to the game. I love your approach not only to the game but to your team as well.
Yeah.
You're phenomenal. So we'll forever
Being a
fanboy over you.
nice-
Um, s- so how did you overcome? Was there something about the Titans, or was it the coaching? How did you overcome that choking, as you referred to earlier about?
That's a really good question. The I think the format of the sport is actually the thing that um enabled a different way of thinking, if that makes sense. I think hugely a part of it is the coaching as well, and the plays that they drew up, and the plays that, or the suggestions that I made for something because I saw something. It's the confidence. I think at the end of the day, it's the confidence. I can remember being put in, like, I was a rookie as the rookie can be, in my first game with the Bell High School Bruins, first game of the season, and the quarterback previously, she was in grade 12. So this girl is like 3 years older than me. And my coach tells me to go in. So I think from the very beginning, it was this like stress of like, oh my God, I have to perform. I have to perform.
Mm.
Performance anxiety. We all have it. Um, and so I think what helped get over it, it's just building the confidence, it's just to learn how to stay calm under pressure. And that, I think, is because anxiety doesn't really serve me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel it and it stresses me out and I get anxious and I get stressed and all of these things tend to happen, but it doesn't do anything for me. Some people perform great under pressure. Some people perform, great with, however anxious they're feeling. I'm not one of those people. I cannot, if I'm stressed, I think the only thing I can do well when I'm under stress is like cook, because I love to cook and I love to feed people. So if I have like an hour and somebody's like, I'm coming around for dinner, I'll be like, oh shit. But like, I do a good job.
Sarah is a phenomenal cook. Let it go on the record. She is a
Okay.
phenomenal cook.
Thank you. I do enjoy it. Come around for dinner again, please. I'll make you something new this time. Handmade burgers. Um, but yeah, I think it's most. I would say probably the most of it is just it's a mental state. I would say it's a really, really about, okay, we're in this pressure situation. We must deliver. But you know what? And this is a little voice in my head. Do your best. Just it's okay. It's fine. It's just another play. Pretend the goal line's not there. Pretend that they're just playing really, really strong man on you. Don't look at the goalposts. Don't look at that. The only thing you obviously, don't, but don't throw it further than 15 yards. That's it, because then it's going to be out of bounds. I would say that. I would say it's like a really nice combination of those things. The external factors that I can't control, i.e., like, okay, this is our playbook. We're going to do this thing. I would say for me, a big part of it has been working with Alan Mead. Alan Mead he's a legend within the Titans football community, and he's so perceptive, and his playbook is phenomenal, and he is really good at helping me figure out where to look and what to read. So he's done a really good job with that as well, and like repping goal line a lot. I think it's something when you're in high school, you just go and score points. Not to say that Mr. Moores didn't do that, goal line stuff, but I don't remember doing goal line stuff. I think it's practice makes perfect. You have to calm yourself down. You have to be able to talk yourself down, and then you also have to just trust that your receivers are going to do what they need to do. And if they don't, hey, it's okay. You lose a game, you lose a game. What the hell? It's okay. I never get.
Have you always been like that? Or because I feel like you are a competitive person, but not like that doesn't seem to kind of translate to the rest of your team. Like you don't seem to put everybody else under that pressure. Like you seem to like not monitor, but kind of self-modulate quite well with that. Like, has that always been the case, or was that a lesson learned? Because it's very easy for, when a game day, when everyone's like losing their head and, you're not getting the score that you want and everyone's like, how do you manage to be that like anchor in the storm for everyone? Because
I don't always. I won't ever say that I can do that consistently and well enough. I'm not going to pretend like I'm something that I'm not. I think it's a different situation when you have so many people with so many different approaches, now we're playing 9 versus 9 and the team has like, I don't even know, like 30 people on it. Shit, if everybody was like that hardcore about winning and if everybody got real angry about it, that would suck. When you're in a team of 10, for example, and if everybody wants to win, then you feed off that energy. I feel I think in my normal life, I'm a pretty empathetic person, so I'm pretty all right at feeling the energy and figuring out how, like, what's the level, um but I think, yes, I'm a competitive person. I like to win. But I don't hate to lose. I think that's the thing, is that if we lose, I could more often than not tell you exactly why it happened. The only times that I feel that I would get really upset is if we lose and we deserve to lose, if that makes sense. And deserving to lose is a harsh term, but just to say that if we know we didn't do our best, if everybody kind of felt deflated and shitty, and it's not to say, it's like a pity party or whatever, but I guess, like just an example from this season would be the Birmingham game that we had. We scored a touchdown. It was great. That was nice. But we just never really got the engine going. And I personally thought we would do a lot better than we did. And we didn't. And it was upsetting. But it's okay. Like, I think for me, it's more around, you encourage good execution and you keep on that. Every play is a new play. Every quarter is a new quarter. Going in with that mentality of, yes, we want to win. And also, if we lose, it's not the end of the world. Nobody died, thank God, and nobody, got hurt. Like, those are the kind of things that keep me grounded, and that I'd like to be a more positive force for the team than not. Again, it's not about, like, I don't care if I'm not a captain. I don't care if I am not appointed as a leader. I think for me, it's just more about, how are people feeling? Are we feeling good? Like, are we ready? Like, do we want to go and do we want to score some things and do some things? When things start going wrong, yeah, I've gotten frustrated before. Yes, I've gotten angry before. I'm human. But I think one of the main things is that I will never take it out on anyone else. I will silently seethe. I'll remove myself from the situation. I'll ask people to leave me alone. And then if I've been snippy, I will go back and apologize, because it's just not nice. If I'm telling somebody, oh, don't talk to me, it's just not nice. We had a training session a couple of days ago, and it, in the nicest way, didn't go well. And I was really upset at the end of it. And I took it out on my team, and that's never happened before. But I also recognize I'm in a high pressure situation recently with a new job and lots of other things in life going on. And I did apologize to my team afterwards. And I said, I'm sorry, it was not how I am and who I am. But onwards and upwards, So I don't know if that answers your question. It's just about the fact that, at the end of the day, we're all here volunteering our time to play a sport that we hopefully love, and that we enjoy. And if I'm not enjoying it, and if somebody else isn't enjoying it because of me or because of any other reason, then we have to make sure that, we figure out a way to work around it.
You're amazing. I'm just going to say that after every time you speak, I'm just going to be like, oh, Sarah, you're so cool. You're amazing.
I'm like the most uncool person ever. I just told you I play Croc and Crash Bandicoot growing up, okay?
This is the only lie this woman tells. She is absolutely incredible. So do you, or earlier on when you started at the Titans way back when, did you set personal goals for yourself, or have you always been no?
Hell no. I had goals when I'm playing a sport for fun. Oh my days. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, this is amazing. Oh my God. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, I never did. I think, everybody says, oh, what are your goals this year? And I'm just like, I just want to have fun. Like, I know it sounds really silly, but this is the thing. I am an extremely competitive person. Play me a board game. I will haul ass, to win. But when it comes to football, I don't know if it's 20 years being in this situation. I don't know if it's 22 years of having played the sport. 25 plus years of playing sport in general, it's just, my goal is always, and it's going to sound super duper cheesy, but my goal is always to do my best and have a good time. That's it. If I say the personal things that I'm like, oh, you know what? I really like to score like 4 touchdowns in this game because I know we can do it. My goal against the Leeds game was to score 1 touchdown. And that game was wild. It was like, I don't know what the final score was. I
That
don't
was
even remember.
so high scoring. That
It
was
was
insane.
insane. It was insane. And so it's like, I don't see, when it comes to playing football, I don't really do goal setting because I find it's just unnecessary pressure on myself and on the team. If I say, oh, I want to score 5 touchdowns, what the hell do you think that's going to do to my receivers? Like, oh yeah, we're going to do it. Or it's like, holy fuck, what if I'm the one who doesn't get the 5th touchdown? So it just it's not part of my game psyche or like season psyche to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to set a goal for this season. I'd like to just play the best. My goal is always not to get injured. Seriously. Big thing. I'm like, as long as I don't break a bone, as long as I don't lose my brain, we good. Like, it's all good, So yeah, no, genuinely, I think it's sorry, I had to laugh when you asked me that question because it's a question I get asked about like life as well. And I'm like, whatever happens in life, happens in life. I have some goals, but I also trust in God, and I feel like whatever is meant to happen will happen. It's gonna be all right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, so you don't set goals for yourself, which is incredible. Do you feel like there is a certain approach that you take as a seasoned QB when you get a new intake of rookies or transfers for your receivers or for your line? Kind of, what are the things that you yeah, and kind of want to do to support like those new people?
The first thing would be is to know the people you're sharing a field with. We had an insane amount of rookies this year. Like, I think most of our defense is a rookie defense. I've had a couple of rookies to the entire game of football, and then a couple of rookies to contact football. And I think for me it's the main thing is just get to know them. And I don't just mean like, I do absolutely mean outside of the field. What do you do for work? Like, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite color? Silly things like that. But when I say get to know your receiver, I mean get to know their speed, get to know their ability, get to know their style, get to know their motivation if they have one. Just get to know them, and I feel like, because the reason why that's so important is because no one receiver is going to run a route exactly the same as another one. Whether it's speed, whether it's style of cut, whether it's catching style, whether it's whatever, you just have to know your receiver. For example, there are some receivers on my team that I could launch the ball and I know that they're going to get there. Other receivers, I know that I have to throw it exactly on the nose or they're not going to get there. And it doesn't make them any better or worse. It's just their style, right? The hope and the encouragement always is to be the best version of this that you can be. So in this role, in this position, if you want to do this, we need XYZ. There are so in our receiving line or receivers, we have we'll have a halfback, we have running back, and then we have a tight end who sometimes bumps out to in a trips formation would bump out to be a receiver on the line. And then we have an outside receiver and we have an inside receiver. So, and then if there's 4, there's a tight end and 3 receivers with one kind of in the slot position. So for me, in my experience, having played for as long as I have, the inside receivers need to have really good hands. And even if they're not the fastest, they just need to be sharp with their catching. The outside receivers, more often than not, it'll be a bomb, it'll be something. So I need them to be able to just go for it. So that's how you play to their strengths. So what I need from my offense is something that I know, because again, it's just years of experience and understanding. If I was to put somebody not so fast, but technically perfect on the outside, I would then expect them to run a specific type of route. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just in the same way, I don't know about other positions. but just in the same way that you would expect a center on the O line to do their job, it's the same thing with the receivers. And my ex receiver who is isolated on the left, just do your job. And it's part of my role to get to know how they need to do their jobs so that I can also support them. And a really positive thing for us, at least especially on the Titans, is that we have now a mixture of rookies and really, really solid veterans as well on the team who know the sport, who know the game, who know the position, and they can support. So I often also, it's not about delegation, it's about reliance, it's about dependence on and trust, really, that your other teammates are going to support the new people who are there. As much as I'm getting to know them, they're also going to need to learn from the people who have been there and who've been doing this for a really long time.
I think it works really well, though. I think
Yeah.
it speaks to the amount of GB players that you've got at the team as well. You know,
Yeah.
I think it works really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say have been the key principles that you've kind of learned for rookie QBs or for QBs that are like, I could always do better.
Well, we have a rookie QB on our squad. She's on specials as well, but she started last year, and she's a bit older like me. And at the beginning when I was working, and she joined flag, and so with flag football, again, it's kind of an easier one to learn because you're smaller field and all of that stuff. And so with her, I the thing that I notice about rookie QBs or QBs who might not be as experienced under pressure as such, the panic. The panic that results in either freezing or flight, these are all trauma responses, aren't they? We know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny to witness it, only because I wonder what I look like when I'm behind the line. I wonder if I'm panicking, or if I'm, because when I look at a quarterback, I can tell what kind of quarterback they are. Are they a scrambler? Are they a more patient? Are they a powerhouse? So the principles, I think that it would just be, is that take your time. Like, take your time, especially in contact football. You have literally 3 people protecting you and making sure that nobody's going to come through and hit you. If the person does come through, like, hey, it's okay, it's just a matter of things kind of broke down. But even then, take your time. If you're afraid of what's going to happen behind your line and you can't see, right? You can't see the field, you can't read, take a couple of steps back. Jog out to the right a bit, jog out to the left a bit if you feel that panic. It's just about bringing that calm and that peace to your position. Because if you are not calm and you are not peaceful in your mind, and if you're constantly worrying about what's going to happen, you won't be able to read the defense, you won't be able to see your receivers, and then you won't be able to make the throw. So that is the one thing that I would say for rookies, is that is something that it takes time, but it's also a practice that you can implement. Try it. Try throwing with putting a timer on 7 seconds and trying to get rid of a ball. Throw the ball up in your hand, get a grip on it. Start, it's little things that you can do on your own time to figure out how to do things under pressure, if that makes sense.
So I've got a question for you, because you said about you learning to throw a football.
Yeah.
But then recently, there was a big thing in the NFL, wasn't there, about the changing of the throwing technique?
Is it?
So from a kind of direct linear motion to more of a rounded kind of...
Oh, the sidearm?
That's kind of been encouraged to protect like shoulder health. Has there been anything that you kind of do to kind of look after your body or look after your shoulder?
Oh, good question. I have a weird repetitive strain injury issue, which flares up like unexpectedly. If I could throw a ball 100 times. If on the 98th time I throw it slightly off, my elbow's going to flare up, and that's it. I'm done. Like, it is a really weird, I don't know what causes it. I don't know what the issue is. But I would say for shoulder health, it's a lot of like, it's not just about, working with weights. I think one of the key things is resistance and rotator cuff health. So there's a few exercises, if any QBs are out here listening and you're worried about your shoulder, I would say try and do some resistance work with your shoulder and with your elbow, because again, it's about the mechanics of how you learn how to throw. When I was learning how to throw, I was taught to, when I bring the ball back, to be able to throw from here. I don't know, you can't see me. I have to bring the ball back and I should be able to throw it here. And then as my body's turning, my elbow has to come above my head and I have to get rid of the ball up here. So I was trained to throw like right above my head. And how I was trained to do that was my coach. He was what, like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. And he used to put his arm way up in the air, like this. He would put it way up in the air, and I had to go through the motion without a football, and I had to give his hand a high five every single time. And we did that like every session, like 30 times. I had to do that motion over and over and over again. And then my body got conditioned to it. I don't get problems in my shoulder. I get problems in my elbow. So in terms of the motion, I can understand why. I can understand why the sidearm. It's something that I've started to adopt a little bit more with Thomas Leonard as the QB coach for me. And he's the head coach of the women's Titans team this year, but he was my QB coach last year. So, again, it's about just learning about when to use a sidearm versus not. One of my biggest issues is my step into my throw. It's ginormous and it doesn't ever need to be. And I look at pictures of myself and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, trying to do like a half split. It doesn't make any sense. Like, my legs are really, like, really far apart. And Tom will always be like, oh, your foot is really far ahead. And I'm like, I know, Tom, I know. And that's what comes over.
It's because you actually launch a bazooka that could, like, the cannon that you have and the velocity at which that ball hits your hand is just insane.
I could tell you it's all mechanics. I have worked with quarterbacks where you would pray that they would throw it harder. And it's like a corkscrew. Like, it's like what I was taught, again, by a physics teacher. So this is legit, folks. I was taught that your body, when you step and throw and you're twisting your torso, that like tension, if you take like a spring or something and you twist it and you let it go, it bounces into place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that's what your body does. That's what you have to do with your body. All of your momentum is coming through your hips. It's coming through the push off the back foot. And it's like if you've ever seen a quarterback throw in slow motion, that's what it is that their torso remains wound up after the step, and they don't open up their shoulders until so much later on. Oftentimes you lose power. Quarterbacks will always lose power if they open up their shoulders beforehand. So anybody who's like trying to throw a football who's like here and they try and throw it like this and there's no power is because you didn't build the tension in your body. So it's all mechanics. Like, it's just all mechanics. I have been able to teach a new quarterback how to throw harder and further by just talking about mechanics. It's really, really simple adjustments to make. I could, again, it's experience. It's also because I was taught in a very technical manner. I'm also a very technical person myself, so it doesn't work for everybody, but you can isolate different parts of your body as a quarterback. Literally, I could tell you, and this is something that's a running kind of funny thing between me and Tom, is that if I make a bad throw, I could tell you exactly what I did wrong. Literally exactly what I did wrong. Because of how that ball was released and what it looked like in the air, I could tell you what I did wrong. And
so is it like a visual cue, or is it a little bit of like bodily intuitivity as well, that it just doesn't feel quite right?
Sometimes you can't set your feet. Sometimes when you're running around, it's really hard to find your feet and plant, and then be able to step into it. Sometimes when you're throwing on the run, like, again, if you're throwing on the run, the intention is you're still keeping your body wound up. no quarterback is good at throwing like this and then just, launching it on the side unless you got really strong arm strength. But it's a combination, but I would say it is pure mechanics. Your body is a machine, and if you figure out how to work the different parts of it when you're throwing a football, you will do well.
So, talking about your body as a machine, how do you do aftercare after a game?
Well, definitely some fried food because I love me some chicken wings. But I'm the thing is, again, I have been very blessed this year to not be demolished behind a line. The only 2 times I went down were times that I made a mistake, and my mistake was trying to run. The thing is, I'm a pretty stationary quarterback. I don't have to move a lot to get the ball far. I'm not very fast when I run. But I think on regular recovery would be just things like, have a nice hot bath, lots and lots of hydration. For me, one of the biggest problems that I have is with my muscles. They tend to cramp. And like my shoulder will cramp, my torso, like all of my intercostal muscles tend to cramp. I've had so many injuries related to throwing a football. But yeah, it's mostly like I don't do anything fancy. Like I don't go to a massage or anything like that. I know a lot of people, especially like people who are engaging in contact all the time, they will have to take, ice baths and salt baths and God knows whatever else. For me, it's just rest, hydration, some delicious food, and some ibuprofen if I need it.
So, do you feel like quite burnt out? Because it's quite an intense, like, mental kind of game for you because you are reading quite a lot of things. Do you feel like you need to decompress from that almost, or is it after so many years of playing it, you're kind of used to it?
You never get used to it. You never, ever, ever get used to it. It's funny because I was listening to your first podcast and you said how you don't have that switch. Like, I'm going to go and kill someone. I have a switch, and it's one that completely happens involuntarily, where I'm cool as a cucumber, man. Like, zero stress, zero, like, I do not get stressed before a football game. But you know that moment when the captains are walking out to shake hands, that is when my anxiety and all my stress kicks in, and it's really, really heightened for like 5 minutes until kickoff. It's really, really heightened, and I'm like, feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel like everything's going to go, and then I step out on the field, and it's like I step over that line, and it just stays behind. I don't know what it is. It just happens. And I think for me, I have a job to do. It's my turn. It's my job. I'm just going out and I'm going to do my job now. And I think there are some games, when you think about, oh, we could have done this or could have done that. But the decompression for me is usually from any emotion that's left over. It's not really from using my brain on the football field. Because I think part of that is also the privilege of having been able to play the sport for so long is that it becomes habit, right? It's like when you're driving a car and you're like, okay, well, the green signal means I can turn right and it's my go. It's the same thing when I walk out into a football field. It's kind of like I'll look at a defense and I'll see one safety high and I've got my 3 receivers out. Like I've got my 3 receivers out here. I've got my tight end and there's one receiver high and I'm going to pick on him. I'm going to throw someone deep and I'm going to throw the outside wide. You know what I mean? It's just about being able to read the bubbles, read. It's like reading a book. When the page ends, you have to turn the page. Just in the same way I see a defense, I'm like, I know what I have to do. And sometimes it's unfortunate because you see something on defense or maybe they change something and you didn't expect it because you already called the play. And it's hard to do an audible in a 9 versus 9. But there was one play at our last game, and I loved it because so Sean has been so remember how I said when I started playing football, she was quarterback and then she didn't want to be. That year that I played with the Titans, she was my best receiver. Like on my first game, with the Titans playing a flag football tournament. I threw her a drag and she ran it up for a touchdown. And it's kind of always been like that. And she plays tight end for offense now. And so we were lined up and we had called the play and everything, but I saw a huge gap where exactly where Soshan's here, and I saw a gap. So I literally on the line, I'm 5-6 yards behind her. I just yelled at her. I said, "Perry, find the space." She found the space, got the ball, got a touchdown. Do you know what I mean? So it's about just reading and seeing those things. And because Sean Perry herself she's been playing the sport for God knows how long. She's been around since the very beginning of the Titans, and she's so talented. She's really good at doing audibles with because she's close to me as well. In flag also, it's something I have no problem calling audibles on the line. I'll just say, oh, Chalma, do this, or Peters, or KP, do one of these, or, stay home. I can call the shots when I'm there. And it's really good because it's not me power tripping. It's not like I don't want to do the play that Alan has called. It's more just about, oh, I see something. This is my pre-snap read. This is what I see. And then we're going to go. So it becomes kind of a habit. And it's now it's like a muscle memory. It's not something it's funny, I'm the worst for this because I don't kind of lose my head about who we're playing against. Everyone, we know Birmingham Lions are incredible. But anytime I go into a game, I don't like to psych myself out about, oh, they're this big and, oh, they're really vicious or they're this and that. I'm just okay, we'll face them like any other team. That's always been my philosophy since the beginning of time. Anytime I've played a football game through, I can confidently say in 22 years, I have never ever given a shit about who I'm playing. It's about how we are playing that matters at any given time.
That's amazing.
It's not a sentiment that's shared though. As much as I can try. It's just another, it's okay, sweetie. It's just another game. But I think is the thing that keeps me grounded. Because if I'm sitting there thinking about how fucking huge, bloody Birmingham line women are, or, Teesside is a massive team as well. And we've played them before and we've both won and lost against them. Again, 0, I'm going in and it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm so excited because it's the last game of our season. I really like them as people. I mean, there's nobody that I don't like, really. I'll meet everyone. I'll say at everyone, there's nobody that I meet and that I'm just ugh. That's not how I am as a human being. And so I wouldn't be like that on the football field. And so, yeah, it's just that I would say that's another thing. If I can give any little piece of advice to a quarterback who's nervous about playing a certain team, it's just another team. They're going to have strengths. They're going to have weaknesses. You have to figure out the weaknesses defensively to be a successful offense. And you have to figure out, and then you have to do the same when you're on defense. But can't speak for defense because haven't played defense since I was 12.
So you clearly talk with a lot of confidence and a lot of kind of assertiveness. And I guess an observation that I'm making is that as a QB, you get given a play, but you get given a number of options. So you're consistently making decisions.
Yeah.
And you're having to back yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like being a QB has influenced you as a person outside of it? Or do you feel like you've always been an assertive person and that's kind of filtered into how you are as a QB?
That's a great question because, Bo, I can tell you, I was painfully shy and incredibly reserved until I moved to Canada. I could not speak to a room full of people. There's a home video that my mom has of me making a presentation on Sir Francis Drake, who was an explorer. And I'm wearing a t-shirt that has a cat on it and a pair of pink pants, trousers, because pants means underwear here. I'm never going to get over that. I don't, Sorry. We can have a whole ass conversation about how many British things I don't understand, okay? I've been living here for 6 years nearly, and some of it's still what? What does that mean? Anyway, so she has this video, and I have this, short little haircut, and my hair's all in front of my face. And walking like this, and this is the yeah.
No.
Swear to God. I swear to God. I have never my younger brother, he's 1 year younger than me, and again, shout out to Hamza Huck. He is he's great. He used to have to talk to the flight attendants for me if I wanted anything because I couldn't talk to them. Yeah.
I am shook.
Yeah.
I am actually shook.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really funny because I don't consider myself a confident person. I would never use that word to describe myself. I wouldn't use that to describe myself. Assertive, yes. I would say now I know what, I know how to ask for what I need and want. But confident is not something I have ever used to describe myself. I talk about having confidence is not the same as being confident. I don't believe they're the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you believe that you have confidence, but you are not a confident person?
It's because I feel like I can put it on and take it off, like being confident. I feel, we all have struggles with ourselves. I grew up hating my body. I grew up feeling just that I couldn't fit into anything. Like I was, I was a pretty chubby kid, and I'm a pretty chubby adult, and that's okay, and I think that word has always had a really negative connotation for me. As strange as it is, it's always had, oh, just be confident, just be confident. I'm like, you know how fucking hard it is to be confident? Like it's something easy to do. But when I play football, I have confidence because I am practiced. I have 20 years under my belt. If I'm not good at it by now, I shouldn't be doing it anymore. You should have given up a long time ago. Not that I'm discouraging anybody who's not good right now. Please continue and fight. You shouldn't quit just because you're bad at something. If you don't want to quit, don't quit. But I mean it. Like it's 20 years of, and this is the evaluator in me. So I would say that yes, being a quarterback has absolutely influenced parts of my life, and so has my vocation. I'm an evaluator by trade, so for me, it's all the evidence. The evidence tells me I'm a good quarterback. The evidence of me being able to throw 30 yards without batting an eye means that I'm a good quarterback. But yeah, being I don't know. Maybe I need to look into it. This is a really good like springboard. Maybe I need to go into, maybe I am a confident person and I just haven't defined myself as such.
Okay, so we're gonna go down this rabbit hole. Okay.
Sure.
What 3 words would you use to describe you as a person outside of football?
Friendly. Compassionate. And critical.
Okay.
Yeah.
What 3 words would you use for QBU?
Strong. Dedicated. And yeah.
And what do you think about it? Do you think those 3 are interchangeable? Do you think at any point you use QB Sarah?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think, we could really, really go down the rabbit hole here. Because I think, I don't know how to explain it. I am an intelligent person, right? I think
Exceptionally intelligent.
that's very kind. But I think how I use intelligence in football is different to how I use intelligence in, say, my job. The approach is similar, but how I use it is different, if that makes sense. The approach meaning I'm an analytical person. I like to see how things play out. When it's actually really funny. It's like when I step behind the line and I'm about to receive a snap, I always look at both sides of the ball, and I always look out at my defense or out at the opposing defense. before I do anything else. And that is because when I look at my receivers, I'm like, oh, she's running here, and that's what the defense is going to do. This person's running there, that's what the defense is going to do. This is blah, blah, blah. That's how it, like, this is me scanning the field to be like, this is how it should play out. And according to what I'm seeing here, this is where I'm going to throw the ball. Let's go. So that's a different way of using intelligence and like visioning or whatever you want to call it than, solving a problem at work where I'm like, okay, let me just organize this and structure this in a way that makes sense, But yeah, I would say, what are the words that say strong and dedicated, right? Strong, yeah, I think I like to believe I'm a strong person. Everybody has their weak moments. I think that my strength has been incredibly tested in the past year in so many ways. Whew. And I'm just grateful that I have the kind of support system that I have. I'm grateful that I have God. I'm grateful that I have me, in a lot of ways. So without getting too emotional, then dedicated, I would say, yeah, I just I like to make sure that I'm doing things with purpose. I don't just play football because it's fun. It's a good enough reason for anyone. I play football because I'm dedicated to it, because I have been doing this for so long and I love it. And I'm dedicated to making the sport as wonderful as it can be for anyone who wants to join. And then what were my personal ones that I used? Friendly, friendly, kind. Critical was the last one. Friendly, kind. Did I say kind or compassionate?
I think you said, yeah, compassionate and critical.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, they are kind of interchangeable. I would say, being friendly is just part of who I am. I think it might be my Canadianness. Who knows? Might be the fact that I always have snacks. Who knows? But yeah, I think, compassionate. I think when you're on a team with so many people, so many different walks of life, so many things going on in everybody's life. Have you ever thought about, like, sit down and think about how many people, just somebody walking down the street, I'm like, wonder where they're going. Wonder what they're doing. Wonder what they're carrying with them. And then you multiply that by like 30. And then you're supposed to somehow figure out how all these people are supposed to work in a unit. It's fucking nuts. The fact that we even get, this many people on a field together and expect them to do things with everything else going on, it's just magical. So I just find it's just dope. And if you're not compassionate to what's going on in the lives of other people, and if you don't care about that, then like that's going to make it really hard to connect and then be able to do things as a unit. You know what I mean? Somebody's having a bad day. It's the grace that I would hope that somebody would have for me. If I'm having a bad day and if I'm not performing, I would love somebody to just be compassionate about it and not make me feel like shit. So I like to bring that energy everywhere I go. And then critical, of course, I would say it's more than anything on my own self. I'm self-critical. I'm critical in my thinking. And then I'm also critical in terms of having a critical eye for things like, what should a play be? What should I be doing? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Being critical it's not a negative thing. It just means I'm thinking critically. And I hope that came across, that it doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you're such a critic, oh, you're so critical. And it's like, it's okay, well, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's important to be critical, because in critical moments you need to be critical in order to solve the problem, don't you?
The 3 words I would use for you:
go ahead.
Powerful, resilient, and unique. Honestly, I'm in awe of you, Sarah. Honestly, it is such a privilege to be your friend. It is such a privilege. The way you interact with the world and the way you interact with people, it's just, you've got such a grace about you. And you've got such a compassionate soul, and you are so, so powerful. Like, everything that comes out of your mouth is just so, like, it resonates on like a spiritual level. Even if you're talking about just something like fucking you liking chickens or fried chicken, it's like like you could literally say,
big passion.
Like, but like, you are amazing. I just want to take a moment to say I'm really grateful for you.
Oh, you're so
Genuinely.
kind, Bo. I don't even. I'm gonna get real awkward because I mean, I am good. You know, some people are really bad at accepting compliments. I'm good at accepting a compliment, but that feels really big because you know, I just am. Like, I think that's the thing. I just am. I'm just another human being trying to navigate myself in this crazy world, trying to play some football, trying to score some touchdowns, trying to eat some chicken. Do you know what I mean? Just but I think it's beautiful that you know, I just want to say thank you for inviting me. I hope that it was enjoyable for whoever's deigning to listen, and it's just so wonderful that you're doing this. I think it's such an awesome initiative, and I remember you told me about it ages and ages ago, right? Like ages ago, and I'm just so happy that it's like taken off. Lids off, taken off.
I see what she did there.
um no, I'm so glad that it's taken off, and I can't imagine somebody else doing this because I just feel like just you're so warm and you're so lovely and you just give a shit, and that how rare is that nowadays? Who gives a shit? Bo gives a shit. That's amazing. But no, I genuinely mean it. I think you are doing a phenomenal job, not just with this podcast. I've told you how much I just love how much love you pour out, how much love you have for Abby. Oh, please give her a hug from me later. You
I will
know,
do. I will do. She sends a love. She does. She sends a love.
you guys have to really come over for dinner again. And I just want to send you all like the good vibes right now because all I'm feeling is good vibes, and I just feel like you are just the perfect person to do this kind of thing. And like I say, like it's just especially after everything you've been through and after everything that you've experienced, and to be here and to still be engaged in the way that you are and to want to elevate the sport in the way that you're doing, and it's great. I wish I had better words. I've used a lot of words today in my work, so I'm running out of words for the day. But you're phenomenal, and I really appreciate that you're doing this for the community, and for all the teams and all the people that you're going to speak to. It's going to be amazing. I really look forward to whoever else you speak to. kind of.
You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry.
It's okay. I'll just send you a big
Honestly,
one.
it means a lot. So, we're gonna end this here.
Yeah.
But thank you again for coming on
No,
and
thank you.
sharing your wisdom. There's going to be so many people that benefit from it, and I benefited from it, and I'm not even a QB, so
That's very kind. I will just say, last thing I will say is that, hey, if any quarterbacks are interested, let's have a chat. Let's get together. Let's work on some fundamentals.
Yes.
I so enjoy working with quarterbacks. It's nice. It's just really nice. And if we have enough interest, then I would love to be able to like set up something like a clinic and set up something like, a little camp for us to do things like it would be just great. So if you are interested, hit me up. You'll have my tag on the podcast whenever it's released, and just please get in touch because
Yes, let's get
quarterback
this
community.
going. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
I would love that. I would love that.
I would
Great.
fucking love that. So
Yeah.
yes, please hit Sarah up. We will tag her socials. But
One
I've
social.
been
She doesn't
It's
do
efficient.
TikTok. I don't know how to TikTok, Bo. I don't know how to TikTok. I don't know how to thread. I know how to thread my face, but I don't know how to use threads. And Facebook,
No.
I don't use anymore. I just don't know. Instagram. You can email me if you want.
Oh, to be 34, to be 34. So, on that bombshell, I've been Bo Snow.
I've been Sarah Ul-Haqq.
And this has been Lids Off. Bye.